From DuBurns Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, this is the Boxing Along the Beltway post-fight wrap-up show. The Boxing Along the Beltway post-fight wrap-up show is brought to you in part by UndisputedBrand.com. Visit UndisputedBrand.com for the finest in boxing and mixed martial arts apparel. Undisputed Brand, the brand true champions wear. And by JM Photography, where your home is your studio at jmphotography.yahoo.com. And also JM Photography brings you ProAmFightTalk.com. We're also being seen. And we also do our post-fight wrap-up show, audio and video, here on Boxing Along the Beltway. I'm Gary Digital Williams, alongside the Fight Dr. Jerome Spears. And before we get into the entire card tonight, we're going to talk to one of the guys on the card. And I tell you, the last time this man was on this program, the Boxing Along the Beltway post-fight wrap-up show, how old were you? About 13, 14? 12, 13 years old. He is now 18 years old, just turned 18 today, as a matter of fact. Happy birthday to you. Okay, May 23rd, turned 18 years old. And tonight, Brady Sensabaugh, the magician out of Glen Burnie, Maryland, made his professional debut, and he made a successful one with a majority decision over Giovanni Vasquez. And I know, Brady, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you said to me afterwards, it's a long time coming.
Yeah.
How do you feel now that it's over?
A lot of stress involved, you know. He was a tough guy. I thought I won every round, but you know, a win's a win. I don't care if it's a split decision, majority, it doesn't matter. A win's a win. And the difference was their experience. He had the man strength over me, but when you have 100 amateur fights, you know what to do in that ring. I'm sure Danny Christian was one of the best, clean as seven. And we had to do it again, stay low, don't get caught, you know. I say it's about a B+ performance. Overall, it's an A. Wins an A. So, we had a plan: stay low, don't get caught. You know, too much experience for that baby stuff. But other than that, I thought it did well. Get a little stronger, of course, over the years. But what just happened? I got tested really early, and I passed.
You were about to say, look at your hairline. No, they got to take it all off.
Fights, that just gave me even 100 more fights. That's what it equals to this top guy. And I almost think Team Betsky and Brian Dillon, the matchmaker, for making that fight, because that really helped me at the long run.
You know, most guys are not going to take a guy that tough in their pro debut. You knew this guy was tough going in. This is something that you either can kind of back away from and say, no, we're going to get somebody a little softer, or you can rise to the occasion and say, okay, we're going to have a tough fight in my pro debut. Mentally, was this the thing, just the thing you needed to start your pro career, getting a tough guy like this?
Yeah, just like my teammate, pretty much my brother, my best friend, Keystone. I don't know if you guys remember, but when he turned pro, we fought 2-5 guys. This is all a sign. We know we're positioned. Danny Keystone. This is how we look at it. If we can't beat these guys, we're not going to be world champ. And our goal is world champ, plain and simple. It's nothing else to it. So if we can't beat this guy, then we ain't going to be a world champ. So we beat this tough guy, we beat this strong guy, and just follow the game plan, listen to DK, and everything went smoothly.
Was there anything that you didn't expect making the transition from amateur to pro?
One thing, even though Danny, I call him DK, but DK kept telling me, he said, this ain't like the amateur. The referee's gonna let you work. When you got clinch, he's gonna let you work. And if you saw, I took advantage of that experience, and I flipped him off the break, you know. But other than that, you know, it's about the same as boxing. Be smart, don't get hit and not get hit. That's our thing, defense. I got hit a little too much, but I made him miss a lot too. So, you know, like I said, it's an A performance if you ask me, because I got the win.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Gary.
Huge success, man. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
That is Brady, the magician Sensabaugh, and I tell you, Jerome, this young man, and they said we met him at 12 and 13. He has come a long way in a very short period of time.
It's pretty amazing, you know, to watch these guys transition that way from the amateurs into the pros, and so we can see another one make that move and do it in a spectacular way.
Just incredible, and he mentioned the matchmaker. Brian Dillon mentioned the promoter, Keystone Boxing. Now, one of the guys who unfortunately could not be on the card, and I tell you, it has been a rough road for him over the last year or so getting on the card. And that's a man by the name of James "Keep 'em Sleeping" Stevenson out of Baltimore. He's the welterweight, 15-0, 10 KOs. And James, I know you were upset not being on the card tonight. There were a lot of ways trying to get you on here, just couldn't do it. But can you explain how frustrating it's been for you?
Real frustrated, man. Like I say, training hard, standing in the gym, you know, eating the right foods and, you know, losing the weight and everything, man. And then, you know, get to the fight, no fight, man. It's about the 5th, 6th time it's happening, man. You know, I fight anybody, man. You know me, Gary, man. I train hard, and when it's time to fight, I fight. But so, yeah. I'm ready, man. And, I mean, ain't nothing I can do, man.
Is the record, you think, a hindrance? 15-0, 10 KO, that's a record that a lot of guys don't really want to touch at this point in their careers. Is that a hindrance, in your opinion?
Yeah, I see it in a way, but we are boxers, man. We professionals, man. So that's what we here to do, man. Box, you know. If you're a boxer, you're supposed to be able to take it to that next level, man. That's what I'm trying to do, take it to the next level. So, you know, I'll fight a guy that's 20 and you know, money right, and you know, everything's right, man. Let's make it happen. Whoever won it, let's do it.
Jerome?
Well, you know, the only point that I would make is that you said you've done all those things in preparation, and then you get to the fight, no fight, and you get a little frustrating, but at the same time, you want to make sure that everything is right.
Oh yeah.
And you know, in the anxiousness of saying, okay, we haven't been in there in a while, here comes this guy, is this the right situation? You want to make sure you take it systematically and get everything lined up so that when you go, everything's right.
Oh yeah.
So I know that's tough, but that's part of the mental process too, of getting through that and waiting for the next opportunity to take advantage of it when it comes. So just hang in there, your time will come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you right about that, man. You know, it's kind of frustrated, but you know what I'm gonna do? Monday, get back in the gym Monday and keep doing what I do, man. Until the right time comes, and when it comes, I'll be ready.
Right. We look forward to seeing that. James, keep him sleeping. Stevenson, 15-0, 10 KOs. He needs opponents, folks. Let's get him some a little bit, okay? Good enough. And again, James is supposed to be one of the headliners on the card tonight, Jerome. And again, he's a talented boxer, no question about it. We've seen him some great bouts right here in this building. And hopefully we can see him in another bout down the road. Now, speaking of great bouts in this building, that's what we saw tonight, folks. And a lot of folks on Boxing Along the Beltway, and I know on Juan's site, ProAmFightTalk, had some difficulty with the card being only 4 bouts in length. And Jerome, you and I have been through this so many times. We've had a lot of bouts, a lot of cards, we've seen a lot of cards, and it just seems to be that the cards that struggle the most before the card take place seem to be the better ones coming out. What do you think?
Well, there's no doubt about it. Well, you know, you can see a range of things that can happen, and sometimes they'll be struggling prior, struggling during, and struggling after. But this wasn't one of those cards. Once it came together and kicked off, matched made very well, and all the fighters came to fight, and the fans got the money's worth. There's no doubt about that tonight.
Give a lot of credit to Brian Dillon. Brian Dillon is someone that he and I have been in contact throughout the last couple of weeks, and he was giving us updates on the card and the highs and lows of what was going on during the card, and what turned out to be a very, very good card, headlined by, and we talk about someone taking a risk as being an undefeated fighter. I think Vinroy July did exactly that. Undefeated coming in, he was 10-0-2 coming, yes, 10-0-2, 4 KOs coming in, and I think he came very close to getting that first loss tonight against a very game Justin Lumberjack Howes out of Buchanan, West Virginia.
You know, you're fighting a guy with a lot of experience. You're fighting a guy who's KO'd 11 guys, I think, in his victories. Right. And so you figure this guy's bringing something to the dance, and I think we saw some of that as that fight continued to unfold and develop. So no doubt about it, it was a tough fight. It was somewhat of a risky fight for this undefeated guy coming in here, but he was able to kind of weather through it and learn some things. And I'm sure Star Child and Adrian Davis and those guys are going to get back into the gym and build on what they learned tonight in terms of the foundation and move on from there.
Adrian Davis, of course, the trainer, and Star Child, Jerome's referring to is former welterweight contender Antonio Star Child Reese, who was working with Vinroy July. And there were times where Vinroy had some very good moments in the bout, hit some great body shots, but then Justin Howes would come in, he would pressure, get Benoit in the corner, he hit him with some shots. This is the one time we can truly say that Benoit July has a chin, because he took some shots in this bout.
He definitely did, and I think his win and his stamina was tested as well. So he got a full sense of what an 8-round fight's going to feel like, and what you need to be able to do to get to 8 and perhaps beyond that. So they have plenty to work with, going back into the gym to motivate him and keep him going. If there's any time when he feels like, hey, I don't have to do the extra round, the extra road work or whatever, hey, you remember Do Burns?
Right.
You better do that extra lap and keep going. So look forward to seeing him in this return fight.
Benoit July now 11-0-2, 4 KOs. Justin Howes falling to 13-3 with 11 knockouts to his credit. We talked to Brady Sensabaugh in his bout against Giovanni Vasquez, and Sensabaugh was somebody who, again, did use the experience that he had from the amateurs, used it very well, got into a little bit of a taunting mode in the midway through the bout against Vasquez, but the bottom line was it was a very strong victory for him.
Yeah, and there was times when it's tough to kind of fathom the idea that this guy's making a pro debut. But again, he had all that amateur experience. Sometimes even with the amateur experience, you don't see it,
right,
because you're moving to another level, and the guy's going to have those kind of jitters or just things that make you realize that this is another situation. But he was able to progressively move to that next level and transition very well and acquit himself very well in this fight against a very strong and game guy. So I tip my hat up to him.
Now, Vasquez didn't have a whole lot of amateur experience, but you wouldn't have known it by the way he performed tonight. But both men make their pro debut, and Sensabaugh comes out the winner. We probably had maybe the knockout of the year, at least the clubhouse leader for the knockout of the year along the Beltway, along with the fight of the year and the clubhouse leader in Benoit July and Justin Howes. But Lee Snow's 4th round knockout over Issa Coulibaly out of DC. This was an incredible knockout down the stretch, and the knockout that ended what was a very close bout for 3 rounds.
And I think Snow throughout the fight was relying on power, trying to use power to kind of end the thing with one punch. And sometimes you can put yourself in a hole on the scorecards fighting that way, particularly if the other guy is continuing to be busy and work effectively. But in this particular instance, he was looking for that big shot all night long. In this case, it finally came through for him in the 4th round and got him off the hook, maybe, because who knows what the scorecards would look like. Competitive, close fight. Who's to say he may have been ahead a little bit, or maybe a bit of an even fight, but certainly he took it out of the judge's hands with that big power shot in a spectacular fashion. So you take your hat off to him and the way he was able to finish the show.
Bout ended at 159 in the 4th round, and it was a good bout, competitive all the way. Coulibaly was making his pro debut out of DC. Lee Snow evens his record now at 2-2 and gets his first pro knockout in his career. And also, first bout of the evening, I should say, Kevin the Scarecrow Womack, who is technically still a rookie because he started his career very late in 2011, and he had the knockout of the year at the Showplace Arena last year. And tonight he put together another knockout. This one came as a result of accumulation against another very tough guy, Nalo Leal, out of Airway Heights, Washington. Womack comes out and he wins at the end of the 3rd round.
And again, very well competitively matched fight. And these two guys went at it pretty well and mixed it up until we got to the conclusion. And so I got to take my hat again to the matchmaking and the promoting. This is another great fight in a card that, like you said, was 4 bouts. But man, all of them brought you something and gave you something to come home with and say, I saw a good night of boxing here tonight.
No question about it. So once again, we thank Keystone Boxing, and that's Gene Molovinsky, Raymond Bubbles Jackson, and of course the matchmaker, Brian Dillon. Well, next Saturday we'll be at the Fort Myer Henderson Hall, and that'll be in Arlington, Virginia, 1 week from tonight, and a card that, kind of like this one, may be in a little bit of flux. We're hearing some rumors that some of the card that was originally announced may be changed a little bit, so we'll definitely keep you posted throughout the week, but it should be interesting to see what happens. Todd Wilson is scheduled to be on the card. Tony Jeter was supposed to be on the card, but we're not sure what's going on as far as that's concerned. So we'll see what happens as things take place throughout the week. And of course, the next card for Keystone Boxing will be at the Washington Convention Center. That'll be on Saturday, July the 14th. And also, we're scheduled to have some big cards coming up in August, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Now, before we leave tonight, we want to talk to the fight Dr. Jerome Spears, because he was one of the contingent from this area. I was unable to make it. I had a little bit of a family situation with my daughter being in the hospital during the time that Mark Truchop Johnson was being inducted in Canastota, New York last week. However, the fight Dr. Jerome Spears was there, along with Disco Bobby and Jones and many others from the DC area, and I just want to get your thoughts on what happened as far as Mark Johnson being inducted in the Hall of Fame, someone we followed all throughout his career.
Boy, it was an incredible moment for Mark Juice-Up Johnson and his entire family. And he said he was in heaven, though, just the whole week he was up there. All the fighters had the same reaction in terms of just the gravity of the situation, in terms of how they were being handled, how they were being kind of hoisted up in these special moments. And you could just see it. And the guys that were going in, plus the guys who had gone in previous years, and the guys who were hoping to go in the future. All the fighters and trainers and managers and commentators and different people who were there, all associated with the Hall of Fame. It was done in such a way that I'm sure all the fighters, particularly the class that went in this year, just going to remember this for the rest of their life. And Mark was as the tip of that, in terms of you could just see how he felt. I think there was one point in his induction speech where he said, "This means a whole lot to me," and you just don't know, something to that fact. And it was an emotional and powerful moment, but well deserved. So we're glad to see him going. Looking forward to many, many more from this area. Hopefully, rising to the occasion at some point and following in his footsteps.
And that's a discussion we can have for another time. But who could be next from this area to be in the Hall of Fame? I mean, is there anybody there? We've got Joppy, a 3-time champion, William Joppy, Keith Holmes, a 2-time champion, Sean B. Mitchell, a 2-time champion. Of course, I've seen Rockman has won twice. There are a number of guys who could be in that conversation. I think some things may have to happen in Rockman's situation. He has that bout pending against Alexander Povetkin. But it's an interesting debate. Who could be our next Hall of Famer? I tell you, though, if you look at Mark Johnson's record, anybody who doubted that Mark Johnson shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, all you gotta do is look at Ring Magazine and you look at the end of the year pound for pound list, and you see Mark Johnson's in the top 10 there, and top 6 in some places, and you look at the people in that list with them: Oscar De La Hoya, Roy Jones, Felix Trinidad, Pernell Whitaker, Ricardo Lopez, guys who are in the Hall of Fame, guys who as soon as they decide to quit will be in the Hall of Fame, guys who are in the midst of going through that 5-year stand, who will all be, what I just mentioned, either guys who have already been first ballot Hall of Famers like Mark, or will be first ballot Hall of Famers like Mark. So there are a lot of people that Mark was in great company in the latter part of the 1990s. So congratulations once again to Mark Too Sharp Johnson, a tremendous career, and he got the honor that he deserved, no question about that. So that'll do it here from the Burns Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. Remember, the Boxing Along the Beltway post-fight wrap-up show is brought to you in part by UndisputedBrand.com. Visit UndisputedBrand.com for the finest in boxing and mixed martial arts apparel. Undisputed Brand, the brand true champions wear. And by JM Photography at jmphotography@yahoo.com. Your studio, your home is your studio with JM Photography at jmphotography.yahoo.com. For our photographer, Juan Marshall, and the Fight Dr. Jerome Spears, I'm Gary Digital Williams saying so long from the Clarence H. Burns Arena in Baltimore. And always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the Boxing Along the Beltway. Take care.